A lot of people look at us as robots or just out doing a job, but everything we see and do affects us just like it does everybody else.
A lot of problems with first responders and veterans is that now we're in a battlefield that's very different.
I've lost more friends to suicide than I did in combat, and it really hurts.
When you push the human envelope to those maximum extents, physically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, and then you pull that plug, nothing prepares you for the silence. Nothing prepares you for that void.
You can't come that close to death without it having some effect on you.
I'll never forget my wife telling me, you know, you're not the same Brett that I married.
What War Horses does is it puts you in that environment to, in essence, look in the mirror. But that mirror's that horse. And that horse is going to tell you where you're at.
You got to relax. You got to calm down. You got to slow your mind down and just think about this one thing, controlling that horse.
The first thing we do before we get on a horse, we breathe. Let go of everything. Let go of everything in your head. If I don't let go of everything, I cannot be present with the horse.
It's magic. I just started crying. It was the first time in my life that I literally let everything go.
Compassion, generosity, love, all of these things trickle back into what it is to be a human being.
It's completely changed me.
All the confidence I had lost, it started coming back working with these horses. They've given me my life back.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Have you ever done it so much you had to put your dick in the freezer?
All right, I think I got everything turned on. All the correct buttons are mashed, and we are live here for Friday Night Freedom on the 11th day of March, 2022. My name is Kaz, and right up there is Pookie. How's it going, everybody? Happy Friday. Hope everybody's week was good. My week was hectic as hell. I actually took off half a day today. Hope everybody's doing well, man. It was a good week. We've enjoyed both late spring weather, fall weather, and today we're doing winter. We got this crazy weather running through. It was like almost 80 degrees the other day, and now let's see what temperature is it? I have no idea. I don't want to click anything and mess something up, so I'm just not going to do anything. I know we're below freezing, and it's going to get down, like the wind chill's like at 18 degrees or something.
Okay.
but then it's gonna pop back up next week. So, and I know you got storms and crap moving through your area.
Yeah, we got some thunderstorms rolling through this evening. The other day it was like 80 degrees out.
Isn't it crazy? Nice. Yeah. That's crazy weather. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing pretty awesome. Busy week, man. It's just one of those weeks. I kind of woke up today in not a funk, but it was just one of those days where I'm just like, I didn't have an attitude. I didn't feel sour toward anybody, but everything was just kind of grating on me. Traffic. The fact that my fucking alarm went off this morning was pissing me off. And I didn't get angry about it. I was just like, well, that's inconvenient, or that sucks. It was just weird. I don't go through that a lot. I'm usually a pretty happy dude. I roll with the punches pretty easily. So today I kind of isolated myself at work. I just worked in a different section of the lab, something that needed to be done. I got to work all day by myself, which was fun. I cranked up a I went to WTFNationRadio.com. I hit the play button, and I was playing WTF Nation Radio's music through my speakers in this big-ass room. I was the only person in there, so that was pretty cool. So what we got to do is we have all these rigs and stuff that we have to line up. They're like, my boss likes to do this stuff. He likes to arrange things, and he's very particular on, I want it to be 59.8 inches away from the wall, and he's really, really particular. Like the edge of this rig needs to be 59.8 inches. And then from the other side of that rig, 4 feet away from that, exactly 4 feet, is the other rig. But then all these other things that are already in the lab, they're like, okay, you have to be at least 4 feet away. So I'm like, hey, boss man, your measurements aren't adding up. You know, and I've got one of those digital tape measure deals, man. I'm like, here, you know, you can't be 4 feet away from this and then be 4 feet away from that and have this 60 inches away from the wall. Because, you know, the gun turret's gonna hit this, or it's gonna, when the gun turret swings left, it's gonna be too close to this rig over here. Because OSHA and emergency exit rules are, you know, pretty. We got to fall in line. So.
Oh, OSHA.
So it's, you know, you just got it. It's those things, but I like figuring those things out. And he lays his stuff out. He doesn't use AutoCAD or SolidWorks or anything. He just uses like Visio, which is like really, it's good stuff for laying for an idea, but it's not good for architecture and laying and doing things like that.
This is Visio to do network diagrams and stuff like that.
Oh, that's excellent.
Really
it's excellent for that. It's really good. It's even good for doing your basic electronics, you know, schematics. If you have to give somebody an idea,
like a rough draft,
a good rough draft. Here, you go ahead and start it. I'll get you a real drawing here in a little bit, but here's enough to get you started. And you can always, you know, change those. You can always convert those into CAD files, and CAD programs are usually pretty good at importing those DXF extensions. So anyway, let's talk about things that normal people talk about. So today's the 11th of March. Guess what, man, dude? We got daylight savings this week.
Is this the 11th of March?
Today's the 11th. Is it?
Your sign says the 4th of March.
Well, crap. Okay. I will take this. I'll take this. I will take this little snafu here because today's not the 4th. Let me change that real quick. Where's my text? Where's my text file?
Because I was like, wait a minute.
You're like, oh, it feels like it was last week.
Lost a whole week almost.
All right, now we're gonna change this here. Thank you very much. That wasn't a trick question. So save, and it should be there. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Holly's here. Ed, Lida, I don't believe I have seen you before. Welcome to the show. Ash Penstone, I don't know. Oh my gosh, from England. Jolly old England. What's going on, sir? Thank you for tuning in. Hope things are always good with you and your family. David Chipsies is getting snow tonight. That's awesome. Baconator's here.
They're getting snow the whole way down in Alabama almost.
So all that weather that's blowing from Texas on east is supposed to, I mean, they were talking about like tornadoes and just nasty weather, but I guess that cold front is bringing snow to some areas.
My old hometown where I was born is getting some snow and some ice and stuff from what I'm understanding.
Woo! How about that?
That's Pennsylvania, so I mean that's normal this time of year up that way.
And they're, you know, it's not like unexpected weather, so they're prepared for that stuff. Anyway, let's take care of a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. March 15th, which is this Tuesday, Jeff Strucker is going to be on Pop Culture Warrior. The interview is going to happen in the first hour as opposed to the second hour, I guess because of Jeff's scheduling and stuff. So Jeff Strucker, I just want to say Strucker, was a decorated soldier. At age 18, he enlisted in the United States Army as an infantryman, and he retired as a chaplain with over 22 years of active federal service. In 2017, he was inducted into the U.S. Army Ranger Hall of Fame. So the dude stacked some bodies for Jesus. So Jeff is an award-winning author with 5 books in print. So he's going to be on the show on Tuesday. Did you catch the USAREC show last night with ice.
No, I was kind of tied up dealing with stuff, so I wasn't able to jump on there.
It was really good. I mean, even being out of the Army for as long as I have, and they're talking about bonuses, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for some. I'm like, when I re-enlisted, my re-enlistment bonus was, okay, you get station of choice. So I went from Fort Campbell to Fort Hood because that was my station of choice. Fort Hood was my first station, my first duty station, and I loved it. And I went around. I went to Korea, and I went to Campbell, and then I re-upped, and then the station of choice. All right, I'm going back to Hood. I guess I was back before Hood became the Hood. It was kind of nasty. My second tour. But
no, Hood was kind of crazy when I was there. That was my first duty station.
It was crazy. It's always been crazy, but it hasn't been dangerous. Crazy is one thing, but dangerous is another. Now the Hood is kind of woof.
I mean, it was always dangerous when I was there. So that was a 04 time frame. So,
oh yeah, I got it. I was out. I was there in 90, 80, 88. 80, no, it was 89 because my AIT was like 40 something weeks long. So I was there from 89, and then I went to Korea. It was quick. It was a quick turnaround too. I didn't spend 2 years at Hood. I came down on orders like right away. I think I want to say I spent longer in Korea than I did at Hood.
That's one I kind of dodged, and I kind of really missed the chance of going over there. Everyone said Korea was awesome.
I really like Korea. I was, of course, a new soldier, relatively new. You know, not really having too much experience. I hadn't made E4 yet, so I think I'm in Korea as a PFC, and I was like scared. You know, you hear all the stories and stuff, and you're just like, I was a barracks rat for probably 2 or 3 months before I actually like went downtown and, you know, went down to the Ville and went, oh, this is cool. And that's where I lived. But now I hear things have changed so much down there. They got like curfews and stuff like that, which.
Oh, it's, you know, soldiers can't behave.
Musa, we used to go, okay, when I was at Fort Hood, we used to go down to Bergstrom Air Force Base, which is down in, it was down in Austin. We would go down, party in Austin, stay in the building at Bergstrom Air Force Base in Austin just for the breakfast in the morning at the Air Force Chow Hall. And and even in when I was stationed at Camp Humphreys, we would hop on the bus and go down to Osan just to go to the Air Force Chow Hall. Yeah, you're just absolutely spot on correct about the Air Force food. Mm-hmm. So people are asking, you know, what are you guys going to talk about tonight? And I'm like, okay, my goal is to not make this a Ukraine heavy show. So we're going to talk about stuff, and even in the description, you know, it just says tonight on Friday Night Freedom, we have me and we got Pookie. And we're going to be shooting the shit and talking about some current events. We're going to talk about a wide variety of things, from topics as serious like Russia and Ukraine, and then the not so serious ones like 44 years ago on CBS, The Incredible Hulk premiered, starring Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. So I guess we're going to be a really mixed bag. Did you ever watch The Incredible Hulk? I used to watch that religiously with my dad. It came on, you know, once a week. You know, the cable wasn't out yet. So if you missed it, you know, the commercials come on. And if you want to go to the bathroom or if you want to get a drink, you do it then, because you can't TiVo anything, or you can't record nothing. You can't record nothing, and if you miss anything, you just miss it. You have to catch it on a rerun.
13 channels is what I remember as a kid growing up. It was about all we had at the house.
We had ABC, CBS, NBC, and then Channel 13, which was public broadcast. That was it. My parents didn't do the cable thing. Now they can't live without it.
Yeah, well, commodities.
And it wasn't we can't afford it thing. my dad made good money. My mom worked, and after my mom died, he was, single dad. It was still, everything kind of rolled along. And it's not that he couldn't afford it. He was just like, we never had soda in the house. We never had the good cereals like Captain Crunch. It was always Cheerios or plain fucking cornflakes or something like that, just because he didn't fill me and my brothers up with sugar and crap. And he's like, if you don't have homework, you get out of the house. Go out and ride your bikes. Mm-hmm. When it gets dark, come home.
Yeah, make sure you're home before the lights click on.
So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So the first story out of the box. This was kind of breaking news last night, but Juicy Smollett, Jesse, I guess his name is
Juicy
pronounced.
Smollett.
So, what is dude? He pronounced it.
David Chappelle. Juicy Smollett.
Juicy Sommelier. So he's been sentenced. He was sentenced last night to 150 days in a Cook County jail, 30 months probation, and he has to pay restitution of, check this out, $120,106 and a fine of $25,000. Yeah, Moose, he's like, the French actor? Yeah, the French actor. So when he was being brought out of the courtroom after his sentencing, he said he was screaming, and I tried to grab some audio of this, but it was all the audio that I could get was like really bad. But he says, "I'm innocent and I'm not suicidal," as he was hauled off to jail. I'm like, what does he expect? Does he expect to be Epsteined or something?
I'm innocent and I'm not suicidal.
So I'm looking. I'm like, what I want to know is, what is his inmate number? Because shit's serious when they issue you an inmate number. So I typed it in there to his booking picture, which is the one on the left. So I typed that number in. So that's his booking number. And I noticed that it's like a nice clean white collared shirt, and it's buttoned all the way to the top. So what do you think the chances are that Jesse Smollett either starts a rap career because he's going to have street cred because now he's in jail, or he converts to Islam?
Oh.
Because everybody knows the Prophet Muhammad and the Lord Jesus Christ, they hang out mostly in prisons, and that's where they find Jesus and Muhammad and stuff.
I don't know. I mean, it's only what,
150 days, and he's appealing it.
Did he catch felony charges?
I really don't know. I really don't know what he caught.
I know most states, they'll do, like, for misdemeanors and stuff like that, they'll do like 50-50. So like for every day you're in counts for 2 days. Or for like felonies, it's like 80.
So he spends 75 days in jail, a month and a half, or 3 months, 2.5 months, 2 3/4 months in jail.
And then
it's
30
a break,
months
dude.
Probation. At that point, it's a vacation. Well, I mean, for normal people, he's an actor, so it's probably gonna be hell on him.
I mean, he's not working, he's not making money. Maybe he's getting some royalties rolling in. I'm not sure what his income situation is. I don't think movie houses really want to talk to him or touch him yet. I mean give it a couple years. He's not a bad actor.
He's not a bad actor.
He's not a bad actor. He's really, really good. But he's just, staged his own attack. This is Trump country or whatever the hell that was. They put a noose around all this other stuff. And, So anyway, what I thought was particularly savage was the judge during sentencing. And the whole rest of this is just quotes from the judge. And he was really, I felt bad for Jesse. I really kind of did. Judge Lynn said to Smollett, "You are just a charlatan pretending to be a victim of a hate crime. Your very name has become an adverb for lying.
Ooh.
Your performance on the witness stand can only be described as pure perjury. You are now permanently a convicted felon. There is nothing that I can do here today that will come close to the damage that you've already done to your own life. You've turned your life upside down by your own misconduct and shenanigans. George Lynn added that Smollett's hypocrisy is astounding, given that the actor has taken a keen interest in social justice issues for many years, yet staged a hate crime against himself because he really craved attention. I believe that you did damage to real hate crime victims, the judge said. The officer asked you a simple question, and then you start to lie, and you haven't stopped lying ever since. You've been lying and lying and lying about this case, and that's why you're here today. The judge also added that this can only be described as pure perjury. When Smollett got on the witness stand and committed hour upon hour upon hour upon hour of pure perjury, that judge pulled no punches, man. He was So I think that, and I'm not going to blame this on the judge because he was absolutely, he wasn't making things up. I think that maybe during the appeal process they'll assert that maybe the judge was biased or something like that.
Oh, I mean, that's gonna be hard to appeal. I was like hard to appeal because he's only gonna be doing like 75, maybe 80 days in jail at that point. He'll get released, and unless he does something crazy inside the jailhouse, and then that's a different story. But
so he's gonna leave jail, not prison. This isn't prison. This is jail, Cook County Jail. Mm-hmm. Cook County Jail. So that kind of sucks.
Jail's actually worse than going to the pen. You get better treatment in the pen than you do in the county jailhouse.
I spent one night in Cook County Jail. And dude, thankful I was like 17. I was an adjudicated minor. So I was on my own. And of course I couldn't afford to register my car. So the 1976 AMC Pacer that I was driving, I figured it wasn't worth actually registering because it was more than the cost of the car. So I forged car registration, and I got pulled over for whatever reason. It might have been a blinker or whatever. And they're like, okay, you need to get out of the car. This car's not registered like anywhere. It was one of those hand me your licenses. I didn't have a driver license yet. So I hand him my Illinois State ID card. He's like, "Sir, this isn't a driver's license." I was like, "Oh." And then it just went downhill from there. And they're like, "Okay, sir, get out of the car." I was like, "Okay, you're gonna need to back up." And he's like, "Excuse me?" I'm like, "Yeah, my door doesn't open. I gotta climb out the window." And so I climbed out the window, and they took me in the paddy wagon down to Cook County Jail. Spent the night there, had the absolute hottest cup of coffee and the stalest little almond crescent roll in the morning before I went and saw the judge. So I was calling friends. I'm like, "Dude, you got to come bail me out." So they would show up, and they're like trying to give them like it's like cash. You got to pay cash, and they're like, "Oh, all I have is a credit card." So I ended up spending the night in jail. That sucked, especially as a young kid. And I joined the Army shortly after that.
No, well,
not because of that, but shortly after that. Yeah, I didn't let. Man, I gotta remember that. I can recount step by step what the hell happened. I was turning left at a light. I had the green arrow and I turned left, and then I got pulled over. I don't know why they pulled me over. I don't remember that part of it, but man, everything after that was just show me your driver. Can I have your driver's license and proof of insurance and registration? Well, it's in the back window. And the thing is, I didn't even do a good job. I took the old registration and I whited out where the numbers were. And then I put in my own numbers, and then I'd like rub dirt on it to kind of blend the colors in so it looked like the rest of I was so stupid. I was so damn stupid.
Yeah. Dumb things we do when we're young.
I know. I didn't know anything, man. I just graduated high school. Didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had applied for University of Illinois, Illinois State, and just I wasn't getting any luck with the student loans or grants or scholarships or nothing. And I was just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna. Went down and saw the recruiter, and I saw all the recruiters. I walked by, let's see, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and then the Coast Guard was kind of sharing an office with the Marine Corps. And I walked by the Army. I'm like, those uniforms are gay. And then I went to the Navy, and I'm like, those uniforms are definitely gay. And then Air Force, I'm like, okay, I can do Air Force. So I went to the Air Force, and they wouldn't tell me what I could do. And I was like, fuck that. And then I went to the Marine Corps, and there was another one. It was the same story. They got the badass uniforms. These guys look badass. But they wouldn't tell me what I could do. And I'm like, I don't want to go to the Coast Guard. So I went back to the Army. I'm like, it's kind of like an Air Force uniform, except it's green.
A lot of people. That was the Army's selling point for a lot of people because you could actually choose your job. Everyone else wouldn't let you do it.
That's exactly why I signed up. I raised my hand. I was like, I didn't know anything, dude. They're like, okay, you can be a parachute and infantryman, of course, which is an option for everybody. I think not tanker, artillery was in there because my dad was an artilleryman, so okay, that's kind of cool. And then they said avionics special equipment repair. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm like, oh, you're going to fix countermeasure systems on aircraft. I'm like, oh, there you go. I'll do that. How long do you know? I raised my hand, went down to MEPS, gave my car away, and just started a new life. And here we are on WTF Nation Radio.
Yeah.
That was cool, man. The memories. At least I'm not an influencer. Nowadays everyone's like, hey, like they don't have, or they have, a really great 4-year degree or a 6-year degree. You've got a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. And then the upper, strata has, PhDs and whatever.
Like my sister.
But a lot of these folks will spend, like mom and dad will be like, oh, you're going to be a veterinarian. And they pay all this money for them to become doctors, animal doctors, but still they're doctors, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And their kids end up being
TikTok influencers,
YouTube influencers, or Instagram models or whatever. But the thing is, they make a bunch of money, man.
They make a lot of money.
And it's like the views and all the follows and stuff. And it's confounding to me because I don't get it. You go to school to learn how to be an engineer, and then you end up being on, you end up doing YouTube videos. There's a Smarter Every Day is a channel that I watch religiously. A legit engineer who engineers really badass stuff makes most of his living just shooting YouTube videos and doing cool stuff, doing engineer stuff.
That's the guy that was wasn't he a NASA engineer?
Yes, he was.
He's the guy that built the squirrel play park that was all crazy and stuff like that.
Possibly. He's from Alabama. Yeah. He's from Alabama.
I watch a lot of stuff like that on YouTube. My favorites. I don't know if you've seen Jerry Riggs Everything.
I have not.
He started out doing reviews on phones, and he would just break the phones down. But now, because of everyone watching him break the
smartphones and whatever.
Yeah, he would test them, take scratch tests against the screen and stuff like that, and see how far down, if they actually advertised it, and he'd do a bend test and stuff like that. These cell phone companies started sending him phones to, and now he's doing crazy stuff he builds electrical, but because he's I think he's a master electrical engineer is what he is, I think. But
Don Jordan said Mark Rober. Is that name familiar?
Not off the top of my head. But I know his wife is she's a paraplegic, like legs down or whatever it is, and he built her like this cool like bike thing, like electric bike, so she could go ride on the trails and stuff like that. And yeah, it's pretty smart. But yeah, it's just better than just watching people do weird dances on.
Or stupid dances. And that's the TikTok thing. Make yourself look like an, because you only have, I think, a limited amount of time. I'm not into. I don't do the TikTok thing.
3 minutes right now. They're talking about bumping it up to 10 minutes, which might actually be all right. But I mean, I think it's already ruined everyone's attention span at that point.
Yeah. Attention span. And even when we started this radio station, they're just like, man, you got to keep people's attention, because people's attention span is really, really, really short. Maybe it's just a generational thing. But folks don't pay attention. Everything is really, really fast. If you even pay attention to like Ren and Stimpy or any of the cartoon, even the adult cartoons, Archer and stuff, everything is segmented like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
A moment is 15 seconds long or shorter.
Like that, what's that thing that all the little kids are watching on their tablets? Not Peppa Pig. Not Peppa Pig. It's
Roblox?
A new one that all. No, it's a video. Someone showed it to me, and I saw a video of it, and it was like pretty much the attention span on the videos is like broken down to something like every 5 seconds. So you'll have a scene, and then the scene changes, and then the scene changes, and then I was like, that's like got to be mental overload, like mental cocaine to a child that age, like 1-2 years old, because everything's just like and you're trying to keep up with it. It's just. I don't know. I don't think that's healthy for people. Nuts.
So I was talking about influencers. So here's my so police in Whiteland Township in Pennsylvania say 25-year-old Johnson LaRose and 24-year-old Charlotte Fisher were arrested after hiding inside of a Chester County Target and filming their encounter for their social media channel. They are known as Saucy and Honey. I'm not sure which one is which. The officers were called to the location for a trip alarm, and they searched the building, and they didn't find anybody. The next day, police say that Target employees found surveillance video showing a man and a woman wandering around the store for hours with their phones out. The intruders never took anything during their entire time in the store. It became a little bit bigger of an investigation, trying to find out what they were doing. Was it something criminal? They couldn't figure it out. The couple documented the, quote, 24-hour overnight challenge in Target. Okay, overnight, you might have 8 or 10 hours. Probably closer to 8. The entire day is 24 hours. Anyway, they have 17,800 followers on their channel, and they were like, hey, we're going to do this 24-hour overnight challenge. A nearly 26-minute video shows the pair building a fort to hide behind as the store closed, and then wandering around aimlessly after everyone had left. The two claimed that they stayed inside the Target all night, but police say that they left through an emergency exit around 3 a.m., which is when the alarm was tripped. They returned to the store at 8 a.m. in the morning to resume the video right after the store had opened. Authorities say that LaRose and Fisher are facing third-degree criminal trespass charges. They have been released on $25,000 bail, and they have been banned in Target stores across the entire state of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Their expected next court date is on March 24th. Fisher, the guy, said about the incident, he goes, I mean, no regrets, just living life and having fun. It's kind of sad that it all came out like this. We were expecting a fine, nothing crazy. And these are grown-ass people. They're probably mid-20s. So, yeah, 25 and 24.
Well, that's the worst thing. TikTok is a weird place. Like some of these influencers do, like there's a Mr. Beast. I don't know if you've ever seen Mr. Beast. They do the craziest crap, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. I know Mr. Beast, he does donate a lot of his money to charity and stuff like that. That's cool, but I mean, you're not producing anything of value at that point, in my opinion. There's nothing astringent and extra, whatever the word is. There's no value to it. Like, I'll go on YouTube and I'm like, hey, here's how to repair an engine. No one will watch that. But then someone will watch a 20-year-old kid screaming, doing weird stuff. I don't understand. I just don't understand it. Huh?
Maybe it's just the things that I'm interested in. I'll watch stuff from Demolition Ranch or someone doing something with like a review of a product that I'm interested in, whether it's a construction thing, like a skill saws or drills or something that interests me, something that I use every day. I am more apt to listen and watch that. Or I had an air conditioning problem a couple of years ago. So I'm like, okay, how do I diagnose this? I don't know anything about HVAC. So guess what? I went to YouTube University and I learned how to diagnose my air conditioning system. I've had issues with cars, and YouTube University, kind of led me down the right path. So rather than pay a mechanic $500 to fix my car, it cost me like $25 in about an hour of my time.
That's why I kind of got mad when they took the dislike button off of YouTube, because that used to help me determine if like a tutorial was decent or not. Huh? When they took that away, now I have to actually watch the video and be like, this is complete BS.
See, what you do is you start the video and then you scroll the comments, and people will actually type dislike.
Oh, okay. I guess that's the way to do it.
Or it's like you'll see a post like on Facebook, and then you look at the comments before you even look at the video. You look at the comment. It's like a video claiming something just completely extraordinary. So the first thing I do is I look at the comments, and everyone's like, "Oh, don't do this," or "This is exactly what they're talking about," or like, "Here's things not to do in Spain, or else you're gonna die." Okay, I'm not gonna watch that video. So someone will say like, "Hey, I saved you some time. I watched the video, and here's what they talk about." So they list like 10 things.
Too long, didn't read, kind of.
Yeah, pretty much. TLDRs, I don't like those.
I wish people would do that on their their comment sections on their videos. Too long, didn't watch or something like that, and just give like a button point so I can just go, okay, cool. But then you'll have one guy to talk about his sponsor for 30 minutes and then tell you this 3-second tutorial and then go into another sponsor. I'm like, I'm done with this. I can't do it. Huh?
This is a great guitar. I'd like to personally thank Boss for providing all the pedals and Guitar Center for providing the guitar. And yeah, it's pretty badass. And put these cool D'Adrio strings on it. And it's going to be awesome. Thank you for tuning into my channel.
Yeah.
So, Moose Alswani, what did you say? You said, what is the opportunity cost? What would clarify that question, please?
Opportunity cost.
That may have been due to another comment that I made.
West Whiteland Police Department. That's near Philly, I believe.
Yes, it is. Well, it's in Pennsylvania. I have no idea exactly where it is.
No, my brain's doing Pennsylvania math because
you're there. You're from there-ish?
Yes, I know. That's where I was born. There, I lived most of my youth living in the mountains. I lived in the mountains of Pennsylvania, more towards Pittsburgh and the good old Appalachia.
So you lived on top of the Liberty Bell? Is that what you're saying? No one ever sees that. No one ever sees that Pennsylvania isn't just Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. There's a beautiful state behind all of those two cities.
Pittsburgh is the nastiest city I think I've ever set foot in.
It's really cool to drive. It's really cool to drive through and then past. Because it's really cool because they have tunnels going through the mountains, and that's really long, miles long tunnels.
Okay, if you ever get a chance to, and listeners, if you want to go look it up, there's an abandoned turnpike system that was built in Pennsylvania. This ran through most of where I was like born and raised area, kind of. But there's these tunnels that still exist. They built it in the 60s. I don't know why they shut it down. I guess the interstate system or something like that. But these tunnels still existed, cut through the mountains, and you could literally walk through these tunnels. And they're starting to turn them into kind of like a nature reserve, kind of hike thing, bike park kind of thing. But it's nuts. It's just crazy because like we used to go up to the tunnels, and I would be terrified to go into these dang things because it's just like this thing's gonna collapse on me. You know,
Because that's where all the gang members and drug addicts hang out, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, crackheads are the least of your worries up in the mountains. But no, it's pretty interesting. Pennsylvania. What's that? Well, I was. I don't know. Breezewood area. I think that's where it's at. I was trying to do. My brain's running too fast right now. Breezewood, Pennsylvania. That's where the turnpike started, and it goes up. But if you guys want to look it up, it's pretty cool.
So Musa Elswani was talking about when I fixed my car, the opportunity cost when I fixed my car. The first thing that I fixed, it was an AC. It was the AC in my car, and they just and I knew how to check the pressure, and I knew how to like change out certain components of the AC system. But what saved me a lot of money is when there was like a step-by-step process on how to change, things to do, like change out your compressor. But if you change out your compressor, you really should change out your expansion valve. And it would be good to take out your lines and then flush the lines just in case there's debris in there. Because if you put if you keep a dirty line in there, it's going to clog up your expansion valve.
It'll burn your compressor up too.
You can't change this end and that end and then leave the middle dirty, and that means your expansion valve is going to get jacked up or your compressor is going to fail again. So it did save me a lot of money. So I'm very, very happy for YouTube University. And everybody ought to do it. If you're having any problems at all, just type that, go to YouTube, type whatever you're going through, and chances are you're not the first person to go through that. Whether it's student loans, car problems, house problems, how to build a deck, best screws to use, building a deck, anything. There's everything. How to do a podcast. There's everything. Everything is in there. Everything is in there.
Any major issue that I've ever had over the last 5 years, if I couldn't figure it out on my own, I'd just hit the YouTube up, and it's a wonderful tool until they start censoring certain things, and then that's where I get into. That's a different story at that point. But computers, fixing computers. If you know nothing about,
oh my gosh, yeah,
plenty of content on there. Sounds like a YouTube ad.
It really does. It kind of does. We're not sponsored by YouTube.
No.
So, a lot of people are like kind of wondering why, all these things going wrong in the world. Like, man, it's all because, Harambe got killed.
Yes, that started it.
So I think what's finishing the deal is because of a Japanese legend. As if the world doesn't have enough problems, people are now worried that an evil demon locked inside of a rock for almost 1,000 years is on the loose. Who wants to worry about this crap, right?
Hey, accelerate. Let's do it.
So it's the so-called Killing Stone that has kept the malevolent spirit imprisoned all of this time, has mysteriously split in two, sending believers into a state of panic. But please don't panic. I'm gonna explain this to you in just a little bit. Japanese legend has it that anyone who has come in contact with this rock will die. Doom and stuff. According to mythology, the volcanic rock, officially called Seisho Seki, is home to the Tamamonome, also known as the nine-tailed fox. The demon apparently took the form of a beautiful woman who was part of a plot to kill Emperor Toba, the ruler of Japan, between 1107 and 1123. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably when ice was around, like maybe E3 or E4.
Man, they worded that all wrong here. I know about, because I have a tattoo of the nine-tailed fox on my arm.
Oh, no shit.
Yes. I know the story about this. Actually, that's crazy because I never really read it. I just heard the story. I was like, okay, superstition or whatever, but okay.
Okay. Located in the mountainous region of the Tochigi, near Tokyo, the rock is something of a tourist hotspot, but now visitors are very fearful. Some speculate that the evil spirit may have been resurrected to wreak havoc once more. One tourist joked, and I really think that this sounds like an American. He says, my guess is the demon is going to look around at 22 and he's going to want to go back into the rock for another 1,000 years.
Yep. Nope. It's like that Homer Simpson freaking meme where it's like, go back in this bush real quick.
Local reports suggest that the rock, and I got another pic here. I think it's this. No, that's not that one. It's this one. This is the rock before it broke. Okay. Local reports suggest that the rock actually started cracking a couple of years ago. And it's thought that, moisture has gotten inside, and then, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, and then it'll fracture. Just like your driveway. If you have a concrete driveway, the same damn thing happens there. But they have officials are mulling over the facts and what to do with the rock's remains, and they are considering restoring it. So if you look at this picture, you can see several cracks. There's this square-ish spot, and then another hemispherical spot that's all cracked, and that's exactly where it broke off. So there's no doubt in my mind that there's no demons on the loose in Japan or in the world. It's just geology, and geology things are happening, and that's just what happens. So that's what the rock used to look like when it was all together, and that's like a ceremonial rope or something.
Those are like weird those little paper bits, or like I think they're called seals or something like that, where they write little like inscriptions on it, and it's really weird as you start getting into some of the like old Japanese folklore and stuff like that. Some of the stuff is actually really interesting. But the story of the nine-tailed fox actually I think originated in it's either China or India, and it kind of worked its way over into Japan, but that's crazy though.
Japan's got some crazy stuff, and these folklore things are awesome, and they're great stories to read. But does anybody really believe? I mean, people do, but my mind is like, does anybody really believe that? Okay, if this rock breaks, a demon's going to escape. And there's pictures, there's artists that have drawn this rock. And if this rock breaks, and they have like this mystical demon, it's like a mist coming out of the rock if it were to crack or break. People do believe that. I mean, old religions. I guess it's not so much in Western society. Eastern society is very, very, very spiritual.
Oh, I mean, there's some really crazy stuff in our Western. I mean, you got the cryptids and stuff like that, like the Wendigo or the Skinwalker and weird stuff like that, and Bigfoot.
We got the Chupacabra.
Chupacabra. I like the sound of that.
So you know what else they have in the East? Little Kim.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about the girl that like raps and sings and stuff, or tries to sing. I'm talking about little Kim, Kim Jong Un, son of Kim Il Sung, and then who was the son of Kim
Jong Un, son, and I gotta look that up now. Oh.
Say okay, we have Kim Jong Un, which is now in North Korea. Kim Jong Il is the grandfather.
And who? It's H. I think it's Hui. I can't pronounce it. I gotta look up his.
Hui Hui is
Hui, yeah.
Chinese. Hui is Chinese. Kim Il Sung, Kim Jong Un, and then Kim Jong Il. Kim Jong Il was the grandfather. Anyway, we got little Kim though now in charge of North Korea, and he's had his ups and downs and stuff, but he's always been launching the missiles out into the China Sea or wherever else, over Japan, over like economic zones in Japan, both with and without warning. But I couldn't find a picture, a good picture of him, so I'm just using this one. The administration confirmed yesterday that North Korea recently conducted 2 tests of a new intercontinental ballistic missile, ratcheting up tensions between leader Little Kim and the United States at a very precarious time in world politics. A senior administration official, and I hate these, a senior administration official who spoke on the condition of anonymity in order to share these details. So this is one of those, a reporter happened to be in a bar and overheard a conversation and then approached the person and he said, "Hey, on the down low, no, you can't use, I can't say anything." So anyway, this is a serious escalation by the DPRK. And blah, 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 blah. These launches are a brazen violation of multiple United Nations Security Council resolutions, vehemently raise tensions, and risk destabilizing the security situation, blah, blah, blah. I stopped reading after that because every time North Korea does something like this, the same freaking statement comes out just like that. This is a brazen violation of la da 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 da, but nothing really gets done. What do you take away from a country that has nothing?
Nothing. You can't.
So imagine, I mean, and I've talked about this on previous shows. So what do? They need some fucking freedom there in North Korea. So what do? You roll your army over and you take over. Let's just say we take over North Korea. Okay, the leader, Kim Jong, whatever the fuck his name is deposed. He's gone. You all are free. You can do what you want. How long will it take people to believe that they can do what they want? They can open a store. They can have a business. They can say whatever they want. It would take probably at least a generation.
Probably three or four generations to that point. You got to think of it like that, because this is like they indoctrinate their children over there at the very start with this stuff. I think the best way to deal with him is we're going a reverse route with it, sanctioning. At this point, it's kind of like, hey, let's open the floodgates and just let them have everything. Like, here's a PC, here's an iPhone, here's this, here's internet. Their government would collapse at 10 years at that point, because people would start waking up like, hey, wait a minute, why are we doing this crap?
So here's something crazy. Russia is amazingly free to a point. They have freedom. They have genes. They have cell phones. They have network access. For the most part, it's monitored. And look at the way that the Russian citizens are acting against Putin right now. There's protests, a lot of protests, just because people have information. So anyway, on Friday, the Department of Treasury is slated to announce new actions to help prevent the DPRK from accessing foreign items and technology that enable it to advance prohibited weapons programs.
So are they going to strap an iPhone to a bomb and make it blow up? I mean,
you know, North Korea is like China's stepson. Whatever North Korea gets, they get maybe through some hacking, but the most of their technology just comes through China. And
there you go, free economics frees people. I totally agree with you on that.
Absolutely.
Sanctioning them because they're building nukes, whatever, at that point.
It's just like Cuba. It's just like Cuba. Yeah. We've sanctioned them for the last 50 plus years.
Has done nothing for the people.
Has done absolutely nothing because they get all their shit from Russia. They just need like an injection of freedom. Just here, look at all this cool crap.
Go over and just drop beef jerky. You know, that would probably start a riot because they're not allowed to eat beef over there.
Open a Buc-ee's in Cuba.
Oh yeah.
Open a Buc-ee's in Cuba. You're gonna see freedom just spew. So anyway, as far as the missile tests in North Korea in 2020, little Kim had just one missile test. In 2021, he launched 5. So far in 2022, little Kim has successfully performed 6 missile tests. Some of those, they're just, some of them were missiles. There was intercontinental ballistic missiles, which are scary because if you look at their trajectory, they just went super up and then super down. But if you stretch that out, they can definitely reach like Middle America. So they have the technology, but in the meantime, the people of North Korea. What I don't like is they actually had 2 hypersonic missile tests that were successful. That sucks because hypersonic missiles that's a kinetic weapon, dude. You don't need explosives. You just need it.
No, I know. That's what China has them. Russia has them. They defeat radar because they move so fast that they create a plasma barrier around them to kind of nullifies radar at that point.
And you can't. It's not like a Patriot system can. The Patriot missile system is extremely, extremely fast. They're not fast enough. The anti-missile.
No, it would totally. I don't know. I have to see a test on that. I'm not going to get into that. I know about Patriot, a lot about Patriot. I served in a air defense unit for a good minute. I know a lot about the Patriot missile. Not that I'm going to say much, but I don't know. I'd have to see how it worked. I'd have to see how the radar detects on that.
Yeah, I've never seen a splash of what does that image look like? Does it look like anything? I don't know. It could be just a blip, and then it's like, what was that? So you just go, meh. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was just a ghost.
Oh well, I mean, can they put warheads on them things? Or are they just straight kinetic at that point? Huh?
Well, there were some hypersonic missiles that were used in Ukraine. I think those were the ones that were used against the hospital, the maternity hospital. It just seems like if it was... I think it would have done a lot more damage if that was true.
I don't know, just watching them planes fly as low as they do on some of them videos, it just boggles my mind. Like, I don't think that would ever happen here in this. I pray it would never happen in this country. But just watching those jets flying over the bomb, like, or I don't know if that was earlier in the day or throughout the week or whatever it is, but and then they're like on the screen like that, and you just see them just fast enough and they're gone. It's just insane to me at that point.
Crazy times, dude. Hey, so what do you say we get up and stretch our legs, take a break?
Yes.
Let's take a break because I know you're kind of probably wanting to. Everyone's kind of wanting to get up and stretch out a little bit. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to be back after about 7 minutes. And we're going to continue this, and then we're going to start talking about maybe some Ukraine stuff and maybe some domestic political stuff. And I promise this is not a Ukraine heavy show. So thank you all for joining. We're going to take a break for just a little bit. Let me see. Doing math here, that's for 8 minutes. 8 minutes, and we'll be back. Shots. That's kind of low.
John Hancock. It's Herbie Hancock. Yeah.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
All right, everybody, we are back for part 2 of Friday Night Freedom. My name is Kaz, and up there is Pookie.
Hey.
And we're having a good time here on Friday night. Thank you all for joining us and hanging out. You all are most welcome here. If you miss a show, or if you're late and you want to hear a guest that you missed, go to WTFNationRadio.com, and we have a link up there that has every single one of our podcasts there, so you can always check all of that stuff out. I was trying to figure out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I went to break and the audio was super low. I forgot to turn my slider up, so it's all fixed now. So, you know, Bradley Manning, Chelsea Manning. I saw a news, just a blurb, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I put it in our chat, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is like real. So apparently I don't have any graphics for this at all, but Grimes, who is Elon Musk's ex, is now dating Chelsea Manning, aka Bradley Manning, after her relationship with Elon Musk ended for the second time. They're getting serious. They U-hauled it. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? When you U-haul a relationship, you just get together and you move somewhere?
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, right? So it says, this article says that Grimes and Chelsea Manning are living in Austin.
Okay, I don't want to repeat that, but
okay.
Urban Dictionary is really good with things, and nope.
Oh, is it that bad, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up after the show then. So, according to and this source is called Page Six. I've never read Page Six. I have no idea of what kind of a source this is. But they say that our source says Manning still has her apartment in Brooklyn. Neither Manning nor representatives for Grimes immediately returned requests for comment. The pair have been interacting on Twitter in recent months, with certain messages hitting at their relationship status. In one exchange, Grimes, age 33, explained why she had not yet appeared on a user's Twitch stream, tweeting that she had not been in LA but felt bad for postponing like 10 times. In response, Manning tweeted, "Vouch." And in December, Grimes tweeted, "Celebrity culture is suffocating as fuck. I'm not quitting music, but definitely changing my main day job after book one. Music industry feels old and tired and reliant on archaic systems." When Manning once again replied, "Vouch." So apparently, if you find a girl on Twitter that you find attractive, you just say "vouch," and she'll come running, right? Apparently, he did it twice. So so Grimes also responded to Manning. It says, since I seem to be taking your word as final these days." I'm guessing the English language has changed. Manning, age 34, call him Bradley, call him Chelsea, whatever. Also had liked multiple tweets having to do with Grimes, including the announcement of the singer's Vanity Fair cover story, in which she revealed that she secretly welcomed a second child via surrogate, a girl named Exa Dark, E-X-A, Dark Sidrial, with the Tesla founder. So Elon Musk, this is Elon Musk's ex. He was married. Were they married or just hooked up?
I don't know.
She's 30 something, so 20 years difference. Weird. Yeah. Is that weird? Is that weird? Is it weird? Is it weird for a woman to date an older man, or is it weird for a man to date an older woman? What's weird about that? I think it's weird that a man would date a man of that age would date possibly their child's age.
I don't know. I mean, I usually date older women anyways.
So, although the story, she said that her and Musk were in a fluid relationship, she clarified that they had since broken up again. The former U.S. soldier, for her part, Chelsea, made headlines in 2010 for leaking hundreds of thousands of documents to WikiLeaks, and everybody knows the story there. And then he was pardoned. He was sentenced to like a bajillion years, like 35 years in prison, after being found guilty for 20 crimes, including 6 violations of the Espionage Act. But he got pardoned by Barack Obama in 2017. So I thought that was an interesting story.
I thought Manning had just disappeared and fizzled out, and that was done and over with at this point. But I guess
he was in jail. She was in jail for a long time, and then he got pardoned, or his sentence was commuted. I don't think he got pardoned. I think his sentence was commuted.
Commuted. It wasn't pardoned.
Right. So Holly, thank you for being here. She says they were married. He has 7 kids. Elon Musk has 7 kids.
What? Well, you get that much money, you can afford it.
Yeah, right. And boy, she's also posted, like, you know, he doesn't live like a billionaire. He lives like a pauper. He lives like he's on a budget. I'm like, that's a responsible dude. What's wrong with that? Is it a he or a she? Chelsea Manning used to be Bradley Manning, and then all this crap with WikiLeaks happened, and he decided to change his gender. So it's weird to me. He's always going to be Bradley until he chops that thing off. I don't know. Yeah, he lives in a small house. He doesn't have this big palatial mansion or nothing like that. He's
not building super yachts that require historical bridges to get ripped down. You know, just saying.
Looking at you, what's his name?
Bezos.
Amazon guy. Bezos, yeah. So back to the show. So we, Snake Island in Ukraine. Everyone's heard the story about the, go fuck yourself. This is the Russian warship and saying whatever. So there's a quick report that I saw about the ship that bombarded Snake Island, an island on the outposts of the shores of Ukraine. The boat has been destroyed and sunk. He goes, I've only seen, and this is all hearsay, and even like Yahoo News reports, and all this is like a copy paste of the same story. But apparently that the boat that bombarded Snake Island in Ukraine has been sunk. I have no idea whether this is true or not.
I'm seeing it on Fox right now, actually. But I mean, that's mainstream media, so it's not really reliable.
So there was the well-being of those troops that were on that island. It was an outpost. All it was an outpost. It was a security outpost. The original story was, hey, give up or we're going to bomb you. They said, go fuck yourself. They got bombed, and they died. Zelensky was like, hey, you get the honor of Ukraine and all this other good stuff. But recent news has appeared that says that those soldiers there are actually prisoners now, and they fought until their last bullet was fired, and they were taken prisoner rather than be killed. They were taken prisoner, and some of the articles, they allowed themselves to be taken prisoner. I don't like the way that some articles they word things. The way that they word things kind of leads you to form an opinion rather than give you the facts. They kind of lead you down this opinion trail.
Everything's opinionated. There's no more like real journalism. Like back in the day when I was growing up, you had like actual journalists get on TV and just tell you the information, not how you're supposed to feel about it.
This is
Just
what's
keep
happening.
it-
This is
Yes.
what's happening. They say, or both sides, if you have access to both sides, great, tell that story. Unfortunately, I guess the Russian people, and this is me, and this is us, most of us here in Western society, we watch the news and we hear the Ukraine side of the story. You don't hear the Russian side of the story because the Russian side of the story is a lot of people over there have no idea what's going on. There's a media blackout. Their own people don't know what the hell's going on. Family members between Ukraine and Russia have no idea. They're like, hey, we're trying to save you. And the folks in Ukraine are going, no, you're bombing hospitals and in just regular apartment buildings. Oh, no. We're trying to take care of you. That's what the Russian media is saying. Anyway, we'll get into Ukraine in just a little bit, but back to political news. This is kind of funny. On Tuesday, Vice President Kamala Harris and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg spent the afternoon promoting electric vehicles and the Green New Deal policies. I typed the word because I didn't want to figure out how to spell Buttigieg, so I put butt chug. Butt chug said, Buttigieg says, clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for the American people. Last month, we announced a $5 billion investment to build out a nationwide electric vehicle charging network so the people from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from the gas savings of driving an electric vehicle. What Mayor Pete failed to mention is the fact that the average cost for an electric vehicle is about $56,000.
Just imagine you having the audacity to say this: buy an electric vehicle, buy an EV, to the populace of your constituents, and just imagine being like a single mother with 3 kids making $30,000 a year, and you're gonna go and say, "Hey, just go buy a $60,000 car. Your problems will be solved." That makes absolutely no sense to me at that point. Huh?
I mean, because infrastructure takes time. There's a lot of charging stations for electric vehicles. I haven't seen much where I'm at, just because I'm major interstate between the place that I live to the place that I work. I don't go out a lot, so I haven't seen a lot of EV like charging stations. I'll bet, I'm willing to guarantee that if I go into Dallas or if I go into the inner city of like Fort Worth, I'll see a lot of parking lots that have charging stations for the Tesla or for the Volt or something like that. So in this is in Kaz's opinion, and look at these ridiculous, gas
Looking
prices.
at right now, it's to give me flashbacks of DC back 2011 time frame. So yeah.
So in my opinion, and this is Kaz's opinion, gas prices are going up has more to do with policy positions rather than Russia. I'd like to talk in the terms of percentages rather than dollars and cents when it comes to gas prices. If you want to see a shocking photo like you're seeing right now, it's actually gone up since I grabbed this photo like 2 days ago. How high the gas prices are, go to California or New York. For the lowest gas prices, hit up most every state in middle America. Locally, I mean, if you go to like Arkansas, you're looking at probably 360, 380. If you look at California, you're going to see like mid sixes, 630. And I'm not talking about like Death Valley. When you go to the gas station outside of Death Valley, you're gonna see some really expensive gas, just because that's the only gas station around. So locally, the cost of gas at the pump is up 34.7% since the 23rd of February. This is right before I went on the trip to Colorado. I noticed, I saw that I filled up before I went, and then Russia invaded Ukraine, and then the price jumped up. So it's been up 34.7% since Russia invaded Ukraine, the day before Putin invaded Ukraine. So since the new administration took over, prices at the pump are up 138%. Speaking of gas prices, rather than upping domestic oil production, President Biden has asked, or he's actually tried to ask, other countries to up their production and sell it to us. What's crazy about all of this is that Saudi Arabia chose not to even take Biden's call. They didn't even call him back. He left a message. It was like he left a message and they never called him back.
I'm sorry. Hold it. I'm sorry. Clown world.
So Senator Manchin, who really has been a very conscientious politician. He's a Democrat from West Virginia who's been kind of putting the stops to all of this crazy legislation, like shit fails by one vote and that's his vote. Senator Manchin, a Democrat from West Virginia, wants the president to enact the Defense Production Act to increase domestic oil production. The Defense Production Act is a primary source of presidential authority to expedite and expand the supply of materials and services to and from the United States industrial base that is needed to promote the common defense, national defense. I don't think the Biden administration will go for it, at least not for now. Maybe if the pain at the pump gets worse and the pressure builds, but even if it did, I don't think Biden's going to budge, man. I think they're like all in on this. Apparently, it's better. Their position is it's better for the environment if we just stop fracking and stop drilling but we're going to get all this same our the amount of petroleum that we consume as a nation is around 19 million plus barrels of oil a day. Yes. But
we were producing close to that under the last administration, just before President Trump had left. Ex-president, I don't know.
I had these figures last week saying, when Trump was president, we did import some oil, but it was from friends. It was from like Mexico or it was from Canada. And that made up for the difference of what we consume. But now, like Biden's out, like looking at Venezuela. Venezuela is actually a surrogate of Russia.
Yeah, they're part of that. It's like kind of like NATO, but it's not NATO, but the Russian version of NATO. I think Brazil's involved with that. Mexico was involved with that too.
I'm not sure what Mexico's involvement is, but it's just like we just the way that Venezuela's been treating their people, we cut them off, and now all of a sudden Biden's like, "Hey, bro, you got some of that oil."
They've got the cheapest gasoline prices in the world. I think last time I checked, I looked that up about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
My father-in-law used to work for IBM, and he spent some time down in Venezuela, and he was in Caracas, and he saw that the price of pizza, like to get a pizza, it was like $14, $15 for like a small pizza, but gas was like cents, like pennies. I want to say maybe that's probably due to a lot, government subsidies. Like it's going to cost the people less. But now their dollar, their whatever their monetary.
I think it's I got to remember what that's called now, because I saw something else. I think it was a hackers convention, a crypto convention. No, it was a hacker
in Venezuela.
No, this was in the United States probably about a year ago. They had a dumpster full of the Venezuelan. What is it called now? I gotta figure out what the Venezuelan dollar is. But they had a dumpster full of it. Take as much as you want. I mean, it was worthless. No one would even bother to take any of it.
Like to buy food was like $1,000.
Something
but their
insane
dollars were worth nothing. Would I call him back? Tennessee, Kentucky, 429 in the Tennessee, Kentucky area. Yeah, but the thing is, the United States, Captain Wayne Baconator says that oil is probably the rarest stuff in the whole universe as far as we know. Yeah, but there's a boatload of it in the United States. But we're prevented from accessing it because of regulation. If I were to want to access oil, and we do, and the thing is, when you talk about petroleum, it's not just gasoline. It's everything that you see in your house is made by some kind of petroleum product. The clothes on your back, the computer in front of your face, the phone that you're holding to your ear, everything has something to do with the petroleum industry. So it's not just gasoline. So, yeah.
That's why I like to argue with people too that are like, "Oh, I'm not to bust y'all out. I don't have a problem with your choice of dietariness, but veganism. Like the hardcore ones are like, you're evil because you wear leather, and like a lot of the products that you use on a day-to-day basis have some sort of animal byproduct, mostly cow.
Yeah,
in it.
So Holly says it costs $1,096 to fill an 18-wheeler. I was actually thinking about this today. In my mind, I'm like, okay, you've got a 50-gallon tank and a 50-gallon tank on that side and this side. $4 or $5 a gallon. I'm like, damn. So now, not only does that increase the cost of their operation, they're going to pass that cost. And it's just like any corporation, they're going to pass that cost on to us. It's not going to cost the corporation any money. It's going to cost us a lot of money as a consumer, because your $2 gallon of milk is now going to be $4 a gallon. The beef that you buy is going to be more because it costs more to transport that. Airline tickets, you want to fly to go see grandma up in Wisconsin?
My mom was trying to go up to see my sister's having her baby shower, and she was trying to fly up there, and one-way ticket to Colorado from where we're at was almost $700.
Damn, dude.
It was insanity.
My plane ticket, coach, with no upgrades, was $600 from Dallas. And that was just regular money. I need to look at that, because I was going to go and see my kids this summer, but damn, dude. If I'm paying...
this whole argument though kind of boils down into like my main argument. I try to like tell people this, but I get laughed at most of the time. Is look at the gas prices now. Gas has gone up, therefore, everything else is going to go up because of shipping costs, right? So the corporations and the shipping companies have to take that. They have to make their money back, so they have to push it down to the consumer at that point.
Yep. This
is why I get mad at corporate. Like when I say corporate tax should be zero, people lose their minds. I'm like, well, think about it. The corporations aren't paying the taxes.
We are.
You're paying the tax. You are paying the tax.
They're not losing any money. Walmart's not losing any money for all these shipping increases. I'm not saying hate Walmart. It's just that's the corporate. That's the
how things work.
That's how things work.
This is capitalism. You got to realize this shit.
I mean, because if you own a business, even if you're a small business owner, if the price of, let's say you're a burger, you have a food truck and you make burgers. When the price of beef goes up, you're going to increase the price of whatever product you're going to provide, because you still have to pay your employees. You still have to pay all of your operational costs. You still have to pay yourself. So what do? You gotta increase the price of whatever you're producing.
Start producing your own food, people. Just say it. Have a garden this year. Learn how to can.
I tried that. I've still got some jalapenos. I don't have a large yard, but I did grow some jalapenos, and I pickled them and I put them in a jar, and I've got more than I can eat. I had like 3 plants, and that's it. And I've got a bunch. I got a bunch.
Florida that I follow. There's a guy in Florida that I follow. He's always getting into his HOA that he lives with, but he's turned his front yard and his backyard into pretty much like your typical like World War II victory garden kind of thing.
Like a community garden? Like come get what you want?
No, it's just for him. Just he farms it and he gardens it, and every 2 times a week when the farmer market hits, local farmer market, he takes his produce and sells it. He's making enough money to pay the mortgage on his house just by growing food in his yard at that point.
Good for him. Good for him. So now the Amish are riding around in their horse-drawn carts going, what gas crisis?
Always liked the Amish and the Mennonites. I always liked them.
I've seen the memes. I've seen, and mostly it's been like a really good relationship. Even when I lived in Ohio, there's this really good relationship. You know, you pay them money, they build you badass furniture. They just do really good job. They do a really good job. But now they're like driving around going, why are we the only people on the road? Because everyone else paying $4 and $5 a gas. If you're in New York or California, it's probably $6.
Oh, that was it. I saw a video floating around. I don't know if it's true or not, but they said it was in Detroit, which I don't know. But it's this gas station camera, and there's cars running around. And this dude just comes rolling up out of nowhere on a horse and ties his horse up to the little post and goes to the grocery.
Oh, that's funny. He ties himself up to like a gas pump and then goes in and shops for a Coke.
No, you know the little like the pylons they put in front of to keep cars from going into the store.
Yeah.
He just ties it up like old Wild West, goes in, grabs the stuff, and just rides off. You know? Just like, okay, well, this is where we are today.
Wow, that's awesome. So I think, you know, I'm not an economic wizard. It just makes sense that if the United States of America sources their things in the United States of America, everything that we use, this global economy has kind of killed everything for us because of all of these shortcomings. If Texas Instruments like fired their stuff back up, and Intel fired their stuff back up and brought everything back to the United States, and then we drilled for our own petroleum, we'd be pretty much self-sufficient.
Except for batteries, because, you know, I think the United States has one lithium. Yeah, lithium. I think that's the one downfall at that point is I don't really think we have many lithium reserves in our country.
Find something else, man. There's some smart people out there that can figure stuff out. It doesn't take...
Hemp. That's my magic go-to when I say this to people. It's like you can make fuel with hemp, but for some reason it's been illegal for the last, I don't know, 100 years or something.
Daniel Howard says, hell, even the commissary is getting expensive. He used to get a few things that were cheaper than Walmart. That's kind of not working anymore. So you know what's not worth as much as it used to be? The nickel.
Oh, I mean, what's worth more than it should be?
It's worth more than it should be. It's actually increased in value. So your nickel, all this change that you've got, all that crap that in your ashtray, in your center console, in that 5-gallon jug of water, all those nickels are actually worth more than 5 cents. The run-up in nickel prices has lifted the value of the metal in nickel, which cost the U.S. Mint more than its face value of 5 cents to produce, even before the surge in nickel prices. The U.S. Mint coin is 25% nickel and 75% copper. Nickel prices spiked to, try to pay attention because this article is like all numbers here, $100,000 per metric ton on the exchange earlier this week. The metal has traded around $25,000 a ton before the run-up. So the difference between $25,000 a ton and $100,000 a ton. At $100,000 a ton, a nickel would be worth about 16 cents in metal or melt value. Barron's estimates each nickel weighs 5 grams, appropriately so, and contains 1.25 grams of nickel per 3.7 grams of copper. So there's more value in the nickel that's in your nickel. So here's some stupid statistics, and I've got to say this. At $100,000 a ton, there's 12.5 cents of nickel in a nickel coin. There's also about 3.75 cents of copper in a nickel coin, with copper trading at about $10,000 a ton. There's about 1 million grams in a metric ton. At $50,000 a ton for nickel, there would be 6.25 cents of nickel in the 5-cent coin. And its total metal value would be about a dime, a little bit more than a dime. So at $25,000 per ton, there would be just 3 cents of nickel. So your nickel, all this crap is just bullshit. Your nickel, just the metal that's in your nickel is worth more than 5 cents. No, I'm not saying go and trade in your nickels.
You won't get melt value. Well, I won't say that.
You won't even get melt value, because someone's going to take a cut off of that, and they're going to get the melt value. You're not.
No, I was saying if I melt it myself. Never mind. I didn't say that.
Oh, so you melt it, separate the metals.
Yes.
And then sell them both separately. If you have a forge, you can probably do that.
You need a forge. What's the proper term for it?
It's not a forge, is it?
Yeah, no, it's a. Oh, what's the name of it? I should know this. It's either a foundry or a.
Foundry.
Yes, yeah, or a smelter, or that's something like that.
Smelting is when you separate metals.
Yes, but you have to separate the nickel from the copper.
Caitlin Leo, suck my ass.
What was that?
Caitlin Leo's trying to. It's just a bot. It's a bot.
Yeah. No. I mentioned that. I think it was fixed. Yes, it was fixed. All right.
Yeah, I just fixed it.
Okay. Yeah, I mentioned it in the.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. So, okay. So is everyone gonna like melt down their change? Don't melt your change. I mean, don't do any of this stuff.
Don't do it. It's highly illegal, and we don't break the law in this country. We don't throw tea overboard when we get mad about things. But I'm just saying, yeah. If you gotta get by, you gotta get by. But don't just let them nickels hit the ground anymore when you like dig into your pocket and they fall down. You don't feel like picking them up. Because I was at the gas station after I read the news of this. I went up to the gas station, buy some beers. Get out the car, look down. I was like, oh look, there's a nickel. Walk a couple more feet. Oh look, there's another nickel. Started picking up all kinds of shit. My mom was like laughing at me. She's like, how much change do you want to get? I was like, I think it was about like 37 cents I picked up just my trip into the gas station.
I've never. I was yelled at by my aunt when I was really young. We'd go camping. I'd go and see my cousins and stuff, and we would go camping. And here I would be. There would be a bonfire. And I would like throw a nickel, or not a nickel, a penny into the fire. And my aunt yelled at me.
Ooh.
All I wanted to do was see if it would melt or do whatever. It was a bonfire. It's not going to get that hot. But she yelled at me like, you don't waste money like that. And that's always stuck with me. If I see a penny, I'm picking up a penny. I don't care if it's heads up, tails up. I don't care.
Yeah, I've had people laugh at me because I'll just be like walking through like a grocery store parking lot, whatever it is, and I'll just stop and I look down. I'm like, oh, penny, and I pick it up. And they can see me picking up a penny, and I can hear them chuckling like this dude just wasted his time to pick a penny up.
Oh hell yeah!
I just made more money. I just made money.
Yeah,
you don't just. It's like free money, cool.
So Baconator says a rare coin can be worth way more than face value.
Oh yes,
I've got a bunch. Anything that I get that's like pre 1972, I'll stick that. I'll stick that away. Not pennies, but like nickels, dimes, quarters. I will definitely pull it and just set it aside if I find something that's pre 72.
There's a penny that's floating around. It's worth a ton of money, like an insane amount of money. It was right when the U.S. I think it was right when we were kicking off for World War II. It might have been. We were conserving copper because back then they used
steel pennies.
Copper.
Steel pennies.
Yes, but they were printed that year. They were going to print steel pennies, but they still had kind of like a copper sheet on the plate for the test print or whatever it was. So they printed these. They're pure copper pennies, but all the other pennies from that year are steel. There's only a few of them that float around that are actual copper. And I think they're worth like something like $30,000 or something like that if you find one of them.
When I was looking for a picture of a nickel, I was seeing a bunch of unique nickels that are like all of these nickels that you see. There's different versions of them. Whether it's a difference in year that they were stamped or whatever, there's some differences in them that make them very unique, like sample stamps, like a nickel that is actually in circulation that just has a sample stamp on it that makes that 5-cent nickel worth $30,000.
Well, right now, what is it? We get into coins because I'm kind of nerd when it comes to this. Last year, 2020, West Point has a mint.
West Point does?
West Point has a mint. Traditionally, what they do is they mint so many, and it's for collector value. 2020, for some reason, they minted the few and they let it out into circulation.
Whoops.
So no, they did it on purpose, I think. But if you find if you're looking at a 2020 quarter and it has a W on it, you just made $25. At that point, you just pick it up. Oh, it's worth $25 because West Point only. I think it's West Point, yeah. But they only produce so many quarters a year. I think it's like $350,000, 350,000 coins or something like that every year. And normally it's just for that weird collector. You know, it comes pre-sealed in the plastic case, and it's never hit air, and people collect them. These ones hit circulation, so just keep your eyes out when you pick a quarter up.
And I was talking to you right before the show, and folks would, back in the day, they would go and say, "Here's $1,000. Give me $1,000 in quarters," and they would have this humongous, thing of quarters, and they would go there, sift through them, pick out the silver ones, and then turn them back in, or get the $50.
There's a guy on TikTok that does that. I actually follow his page because he's live. He does it. And he'll go through the quarters looking for things. Because there's a couple quarters floating around. Well, I think one is the rust. No, I think it might be the dime that's the rusted piece. It was a minting error where it just says, instead of the rust and God we rust is what it says.
It says rust?
Well, it's because the T didn't strike the coin right. You know?
So it looks like an R.
And God we rust, it says. There's the spitting horse. It looks like the horse is taking a spit because there was a crack in a mint. Oh. And they minted a bunch of these coins. There's a whole bunch of weird things when it comes to coins like that make them valuable for some reason.
So how many mints do we have left?
We've got West Point.
There's Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Is there a Fort Worth or a Dallas? We used to have one.
I gotta look that up. One in Colorado, I think they shut that down a while back. If you find coins with that one, what's it? You got Denver.
As a country, we're kind of printing currency like it's going out of style. So,
well, I mean,
and I'm not just talking paper currency, but I mean, whoever stamps coins, and you have to keep on stamping that. That shit doesn't last forever.
No, I mean,
and who decides? Who decides? Is there some Karen out there going, I'm taking this nickel out of circulation. I'm taking this quarter out of circulation.
There are today 4 mints, Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point. But I haven't seen any San Francisco. I don't know if San Francisco has a stamp on it. I think it's just blank. I think the San Francisco one's blank.
Is it S? What's the S type? Because I've got a bunch of S
It
nickels.
might be San Francisco. It might be San Francisco
Okay.
then, because I know one of them is a blank. They don't put their mint mark on there. It's just a blank. But West Point's the big one where if you get a West Point coin, there's some money.
I'm gonna have to go through all my stuff because I collect change not because I'm a coin collector. It's just all my spare change goes into a bucket, and then when I'm bored, I'll go through that bucket, and I'll separate my nickels, dimes, quarters, pennies, and that's it. And now that I just got back from Canada, I've got a bunch of Canadian crap stuff, coin. I don't want to say Canadian crap. It's just it's currency.
Currency.
So when I was up in Canada, I was asking the guys up there. I'm like, do you guys get pissed off when you get a quarter? In place of a Canadian quarter? They're like, no. I'm like, why not? Because the United States quarter is worth way more than a Canadian quarter.
See, that used to happen to me a lot growing up north. Like, go up to the corner store and, buy something, you get a couple pennies back, or maybe like a nickel back or something like that, or like a quarter back. And then you look down, you'd be like, what? That's not a U.S. quarter. That's a Canadian quarter.
That's less than 25 cents.
I know. I swear some of them corner stores were laundering money by use of, just, hey, I'm going to buy a bunch of Canadian quarters and just hand these out nonchalantly like every once in a while and, rip people off. I don't know if that's like a scam they were pulling back in the day, but I used to have so much Canadian coinage where I lived. I was like, well, okay, cool. You see the little maple leaf on the penny, but all right, whatever.
Throw it in the bucket.
Throw it in a bucket and spend it.
So my note here on my page says more discontinuity in government. So, look at that. The Pentagon on Tuesday dismissed Poland's proposal floated hours earlier to transfer MiG-29 fighters to the United States for delivery to Ukraine. Pentagon and this story that I pulled is days old, and it's matured since then. But I thought this meme was awesome because the meme says, the USA says, we need Poland to give us their MiG-29s to transfer to Ukraine. And then Poland says, oh, okay, here you go. And then the USA is like, oh, what do we do? Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said in a statement that the Pentagon did not believe Poland's proposal was tenable. Just hours after Polish officials released a statement stating that the government was ready to deploy all of the MiG-29 fighter jets to the United States Air Force Ramstein Air Base in Germany, so they can then be provided with like replacement aircraft from the United States.
Oh yeah.
The Defense Department's statement was released on Tuesday evening of this week, and this has been a rapidly changing situation after the Polish proposal caught the Biden administration completely off guard. While Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has pleaded for more aircraft amid the Russian invasion, the offer has still not been discussed with the U.S. It has been, and the U.S. says no. What I'm thinking is if Ukraine wants to send planes to Poland, why does the U.S. have a say in that?
I think Poland was going to give planes to Ukraine, but since they're NATO, I think there's a weird thing that has to go on with that.
So some details have emerged. Oh, okay. So, and these are bullet points. Poland wants to send all of their MiG-29s to Ramstein Air Base in Germany and then place them at the disposal of the U.S. government. Poland wants the USA to replace the planes with used American aircraft with corresponding capabilities. Okay. Poland also stated that it's ready to establish the conditions of purchase of those aircraft. So they're willing to pay for it. We can be the used car salesman, the United States.
Oh, they want to upgrade. What they want to do is they want to upgrade their Air Force, pretty much, is what it is.
That sounds just exactly like that.
Then what's the issue? We're the arms dealer of the world. I mean, What's the issue?
So
I mean,
Anthony,
we gave the Afghanis all kinds of crap just for free. Here you go.
I know that Poland is a part of NATO, but there should be no problem with Poland sending their planes to Germany.
They're a sovereign nation. They can do whatever they want.
Like, hey, and I was even floating the idea, let's have the United States go, here, you want to buy some A10s, 1 cent, 1 cent per A10.
No, not the A10s. Come on.
No, I mean, send it to them. Get rid of those convoys. So over the weekend, this is last weekend, Blinken said giving Ukraine jets through Poland would get a green light. He's like, man, this sounds like a great idea. But then he was shut down by the administration. So what I'm wondering is, who the fuck is in charge? Who the fuck is in charge?
I've been wondering that for the last almost 2 years now. the year and 3 months.
When the Secretary of State goes, sounds like a great deal, let's do this, and then like a day later, 2 days later, the administration, and I say that in air quotes, the administration says, no, we're not going to do that. Are they trying to get out of a situation where Russia might see this as a NATO intervention? I don't know.
I don't know. I get conspiracy theory, but I don't want to do that.
I don't know. So Zelensky here on this picture is on the right. Biden is in the center, and I have no idea who that guy is on the left. But hey, where's Putin? Where's Putin in all this? But he's caring about kids. Did you see what he did this last week?
It looks like the Polish prime minister, actually, or the president.
Ah, okay. So Vladimir Putin all of a sudden cares about kids. Vladimir Putin has met with his children's rights commissioner in Moscow at the same time that he decided to bomb a maternity hospital. The Russian leader spoke with Maria Lvova-Belova at the Kremlin after overseeing a savage 2-week campaign in Ukraine that has seen children killed, orphaned, or forced to flee their homes. Putin held the meeting to discuss changes to the law that will allow Russians to adopt Ukrainian orphans after his forces killed their parents.
That is some dark shit. We're going to go over there and kill your parents, but we'll adopt you.
Yeah.
That's back. That's back.
I got it. I got rid of him. Bitch. Yeah, there was no reason that we're not aiding as much as we can without breaking a NATO agreement. I mean, a lot of these NATO countries are like, fuck yeah, let's protect Ukraine. Everyone wants to protect Ukraine, but all this politics is fucking stuff up. But you know what's not fucking stuff up is Lego. Lego. An independent Lego retailer has raised more than $16,000 for relief efforts in Ukraine by selling mini figurines of Zelensky and tiny Molotov cocktails. Citizens. What?
I want one.
You get online, bro. Citizen Brick announced last week that it would be launching a unique custom minifigure of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, along with a printed Molotov cocktail pieces, with all proceeds going to be donated to victims of Ukraine. And while Molotov cocktail elements ultimately saw initial Instagram post removed, the retailer still managed to raise an enormous amount of $16,540. How about that?
Awesome. I want one.
So look for how did I find that? It's like Lego Zelensky or something, and you'll find it. But they've got little Molotov cocktails. It's got the Ukrainian flag on it.
What I want is the little Lego.
You want the Zelensky?
No, I just want the Molotov cocktails. I think I've made things like that when I was like a little kid.
I tried to make little gas bombs and stuff and put them in like little pill bottles. Then it didn't end well.
No, I'm talking about Legos. I put nothing illegal.
Oh no, I did the illegal shit.
Thank God for statute of limitations, right?
Oh, I hope so. And that was the same day. The same day I tried to blow up something outside my house was the same day that I wanted to jump off my roof with a fucking umbrella.
Sound like a crazy kid.
Yeah, I was not controllable very much.
I remember there's an older lady that lived next to her house. She was in her like 90s, and I had built with the the pressure spray bottles, whatever it is. It's a gasoline. And I'm like,
oh no, your flamethrower.
Yes, that was a flamethrower. And we had a gravel, because where I grew up, every house had like kind of an alley, kind of like a gravel alley. Mm-hmm. All the houses back into the house would link into the alley. So I'm just lighting the gravel on fire, and I hear this little lady, "Hey, I'm gonna tell you, Ma." You can't be doing that. I'm going to call the cops. I'm like, okay, I better stop.
And then after the fire goes out and then the police show up, they're like, someone was burning gas. Was that you? I don't know. I don't know what the hell happened.
Let's talk about go hide in the basement. They don't even know when he was home at that point.
Just don't answer the door. If they ain't got a warrant, they can't come in, right? All right, I think that's the end of the show, man. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. We did it.
Okay, tell me, behind your shoulder, milliput? What is a milliput?
Milliput?
Milliput, yeah.
Milliput. It's epoxy.
Oh, I thought maybe it was like a harmonica or something. Two-part epoxy.
No, it's just an epoxy. I use it for modeling, doing models.
Gotcha. Because I see the bitches in Saki. That's pretty awesome.
No. It's just I use it for my models and stuff that my miniatures that I play with.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody tune in Monday for the Monday edition. Tuesday we've got a guest. Does ICE have a guest on Monday? I don't know.
You're probably asking the wrong person. I'm really bad about this. Hold on, give me a second.
I don't think so. We had
Tuesday.
We had the user rec team, which is awesome. We had a 2-star, 3-star, and a command sergeant.
On the 24th, we got TikTok One Punch Dad's gonna be on.
One Punch Dad's gonna be here. That's awesome.
Yes. Let's see, on the 29th, which is a Tuesday. CQ be getting all the gas.
Oh, he does. He's been grinding, man. He's working.
He's got Rich Tang. I don't know. It goes further down, up into April almost. But
I know that CQ said that he's booked up until May for guests.
Who's he got running as his?
I think he's running his own PR firm.
So kudos.
So we were supposed to have tonight. We were supposed to have the creator of, St. Javelin. We were supposed to have him tonight, but he's out doing things and stuff, and he's going to be back. Hopefully, he gets back sooner than later, because the way that the shit in the Ukraine is changing is is really, really fast. So if he needs to come back on the air on a Monday or Tuesday or Thursday show, that's completely fine. I'm completely good with that. So anyway, that's it. And we're here, a few days a week. We're going to be adding more shows. But right now, Monday is the Monday edition. Tuesday is Pop Culture Warrior. Thursday is Sergeant's Time with Ice. And Friday is Friday Night Freedom. And that's about it. And I think we're going to get out of here. Thank you all for just hanging out and spending your Friday with us. And have a great weekend. Make good decisions and stuff and things.
Be good people.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
My friend came to the door. She said, well, I was on the phone cooking me and my baby some breakfast. And she said, hey, something wrong. It's popping. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no. So the girl come downstairs. She come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, oh, girl, it's cold outside. She said, something ain't right. I said, oh, man. She said, oh, man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
The voice